But here's a look you've probably never seen before. It's me. I thought I'd do a little bit of a different video. It was something I've been wanting to do for a long time, but I wanted to make sure I had makeup on, at least some, so I could address the camera as I'm more comfortable doing this way. So what I have is some hula hoops, and I'm going to do this in 3 parts. And I just wanted to see if I could do it in like 15-minute segments. So I'm figuring 3 parts. And I'm going to talk about the hoops, just like an introduction. And then the second one, I'm going to talk about how to go about getting a hoop, because that was something that I really had trouble with at first, because I thought it was something you could just go to a store and buy. And the ones you buy at the toy store is not what you want if you're going to do this. So, and the story was that real quick, probably back in 2015, 2016, I had an exercise machine that broke on me. It was a elliptical trainer, and I wanted to replace that with something, just to get some exercise, because I was like, I would love to do like something with a dance aspect to it. And I came across these hula hoopers on YouTube, and they're like, they're pros. I mean, if you watch some of these girls, what they could do with the hoop, it's like watching anything from like beautiful figure skating to the other end of the spectrum, where um, they'll just be going ninja with the hula hoops. And so I got intrigued, and I was like, I'm going to give it a try. I'm probably crazy for doing this, but let me see if I could buy a hoop and take it from there. And to buy a hoop was very difficult. I mean, Amazon had exercise hoops, and I have one in the background right about getting the camera right there against the wall. And that's not what you want. That's like a 2.5 pound hoop. And I bought it because I thought it was like a good start, and it wasn't very expensive. But the hoop you're going to need is going to cost more than that. And I think that was like $20 or something like that. So I thought I was like in the right track, but it wasn't. And every once in a while I still use that, but you can't do any kind of dance with it really. It's got a lot of weight to it. 2.5 pounds doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're going around your waist, you only could do that so many times before you start hurting your back. And they tell you not to do it too much either. So what I came across just looking at this on YouTube, there was a part about building your own hoops. And with that, it meant going to, they did a really good, couple of people on there, like they told me what tools to use, what to buy, where to get, Home Depot. And it was basically irrigation tube, this hula hoop. And this was kind of like my first hula hoop. And you can see it's kind of like all the hoop tape is kind of worn off. But I don't use this anymore, but it has sentimental value. And it doesn't break. I mean, it's irrigation tube. It's not made for hula hooping, but beginner hoopers were making their own from this. So it was my first introduction to it. And this worked. This is what I learned on. I almost broke my TV with it because I was doing it in a house in my place, and I didn't have a lot of room to do it. The ceiling room was like real low, a ceiling fan, and it was like a lot of obstacles in the way. So I was hitting things, and the fact that I didn't break more things was amazing with this. So that's the irrigation, and I think this was a 38-inch hoop. I advanced a little bit, so I went to get another one, and I called a store that's no longer open on the internet. It was called Hoop Supplies, and they were the best place to get it back then. And I would buy the tubing and make my own. And they told me what I need, and they said you could cut the diameter, and it was a way to figure out the diameter of your hoop. But the general rule was, and even though these don't match today, for your first hoop, you want the diameter of the hoop to reach your navel. And that was like just the rule of thumb. And then after that, you get smaller and get lighter and whatnot. So at that point, um, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if I'm even qualified to build one of these, but I'm just, I can follow instructions and I'll build this. I'll look online. I'll kind of get a lot of information on that. And so I built, this is one of my first hoops my first really good hoops. And it's a polypro, they call it. That's the material. And I have one in the back, right back there. That's a little bit of a heavier hoop. And it looks like almost the same. It's a little thicker, it's a little heavier. And that's called, the material is HDPE. And, um, and they'll talk about this red one. This one I actually built recently at Home Depot. This is actually hot water line, pressure line, and it's plastic. It's kind of like similar to PVC, but it's got like a lot stronger thing to it. And I basically riveted. I had to get an insert, rivet it, and it worked out pretty well. But it's a little heavy. But so these are my go-tos. This one in the HDPE back there. So with that, I'm going to start on part two.